invocation? All right, I'll do it. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for letting us gather here in this municipal building to help our town and our residents understand that everything that we do through this board is for the betterment of the entire community. Thank you for allowing us to live in this great country and state. And in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right. Do we have visitors here that are not involved with the case tonight that would like to say anything? Okay, no visitors from that. Our next item is the swearing in of our new member, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Shumpert, our
Thank you,
attorney.
Mr. Chairman, and I'm ready to do that. Before I do, though, I just want to take a moment, if I could, to thank all of you for what you're doing. I know this is not something that you just broke the door down to do. Plus, I know you all also received the magnanimous salary of nothing for doing this, but you're valued. It's a valued service. The city really appreciates it, and you're just doing it because you're good citizens and want to do what's right, and we thank all of you for that. And with that, Dr. John, if you'd stand up here and raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, John Kegris,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of member of the Zoning Board of Adjustment
member of the Zoning Board of Adjustment
for the City of Terrell
for the City of
in
Terrell
Kaufman County, Texas,
in Kaufman County, Texas,
and will to the best of my ability
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and laws of the United States
and of this state
and of this state
and the ordinances of the City of Terrell.
and the ordinance of the City of Terrell.
And I further do solemnly swear
I further do solemnly swear
that I have neither directly nor indirectly
that I neither directly or indirectly
paid, offered, or promised to pay,
paid, offered, or promised to pay,
contributed, or promised to contribute
contribute, or promised to contribute
any money or valuable thing
any money or valuable thing
to secure my appointment
to secure my appointment
or the confirmation thereof.
or the confirmation thereof.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, sir. Take your seat.
It's good to have Dr. John with us. We appreciate him coming in. All right. We'll just move on down our agenda here, and the next item is the adoption of the previous meeting minutes held, I believe it was last February was our last meeting.
Yeah.
Do I hear anything regarding those minutes?
I move that we accept the minutes as written without correction.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the meetings as they are presented. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? That passes 4-0, Jay. All right. Our next item is to open our public hearing on case, I don't have a case VR number this time. 2203, case VR 2203. Mr. Phillips, when you are ready, you can tell us the point of view of the City of Terrell.
Good evening. Mr. Chairman, we have two cases tonight. Both pertain to the same address. One is for a variance for fencing materials and for a fence in the backyard, and the other relates to a gate across the driveway in the front yard. So I can go over both of these at the same time if you like, or we'll just discuss them individually, however you want to do it.
I would say that we go ahead and just present them at the same time.
Okay.
Board, just please know that these are two separate cases that will be voted on separately.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay. The first is the fence for the backyard. The applicant is requesting a variance from section 36.4 of the zoning ordinance. The section pertains to prohibited fences and materials. And I'll read that section. It says prohibited fences and materials. Materials prohibited are products such as wood, metal, or plastic that is not specifically designed as a fencing material. These products include aluminum, barbed wire, chain, chicken or hog wire, corrugated metal, electric fence, fiberglass panels, metal panels, netting, paneling, paper, plywood, razor ribbon wire, rope, string, temporary barrier fencing, used or secondhand materials, and welded wire fabrics. Wire fabrics and any material that could be deemed a public safety hazard. So there's a whole list of materials that can't be used. The applicant here owns the property. It's located 1321 South Medora and is requesting a variance to allow for a solid metal panel fence to be installed around the backyard of the property. And this property is currently zoned SF6. The material that the applicant wishes to use is clearly prohibited by the zoning ordinance and is not consistent with a residential fence. It is more consistent with a screening wall in an industrial zoned area. This type of material is widely used for screening walls to isolate auto salvage yards, metal recycling facilities, and junkyards. City staff does not consider this variance request to be a hardship and does not support the variance request. We'll go over to, Jay, could you take us to, let's go to 18. Some pictures of the property here in the backyard where they're wanting to put up this fence. This is the backyard. This is pictures taken from Baker Street. This is directly across the street from Fire Station number 2. And you can see the house. And there's an existing fence. Oh, yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Is it on the screen? Okay. Okay. There's an existing chain link fence there along the back property line and on the north property line between that property and the neighboring house. Go to the next slide there. It's pretty much the same picture here. And here's another shot from toward the back of the property, looking back toward the house. So they're wanting to enclose this backyard with this, with basically an R panel fence. This is a material that's used metal buildings and such. It's not a real fencing material. Jay, can you go back to I think the site map that they provided us, page 14. One
more back,
the site map.
one more back, other way. There you go.
Yeah, there's a survey and site map of the property there. The green line indicates where they're wanting to put this R panel fence. In the middle there is the house, and they want to use another material in the front. And as you look there at the map, there's their property, Baker Street on the right, and like I said, directly across the street is Fire Station number 2. You may have any questions about this part? Okay, on this side map, it says backyard fence plans for an 8-foot high metal fence. So not only would this be the metal fence, it would also be 8 feet tall. Okay, we'll move on to the second part of the variance request, which is for a gate in the driveway. The applicant's requesting a variance from section 36.3. The section relates to gates designed for vehicular access and for all garage doors in the residential area. And this 36.3 section says that gates designed for vehicular access and all garage doors shall be set back from the property line a minimum of 25 feet. And as we've discussed before on these gates on a driveway, it's designed to set back from the property line 25 feet, so if this gate is closed, someone pulls up, the gate's closed, they can't get in, we're not sticking out in the street, we're not blocking the driveway, or the sidewalk, excuse me. The applicant owns the property there at 1321 and is requesting a variance to allow for a vehicular access gate to be installed across the driveway at the front property line instead of the 25-foot required setback. Again, its property is owned residential SF7, SF6. The gate would be in violation of the city zoning ordinance as it would not be 25 feet from the property line. The distance from the property line to the edge of the pavement is 12 feet. This distance would not allow room, excuse me, would not allow room for a mid-size or a full-size vehicle to park without extending well into the street. Someone pulls up, the gate's closed, they pull up there, they stop, they're gonna be hanging out in the street.
So the question I have is the pictures with the tape measure,
Mm-hmm.
is that 25 feet from the property line?
That orange mark on the pavement is the property line.
That's the property line.
That's the property line.
So it has to be 25 feet from
Mm-hmm, yes. I said the distance will not allow for a mid-size or a full-size vehicle to park without extending into the street. This creates a safety issue and encourages vehicles to park in the street. The major reason for the required 25-foot setback distance from the property line to the gate is to allow parking of vehicles without blocking sidewalks or extending out into the street. In addition, Fire Station Number 2 is located across the street. Medora is a common route used for emergency vehicles to travel when responding to emergencies. Street parking or vehicles extending into the street would cause a safety issue as well as delaying response times. City staff does not consider this variance request to be a hardship and agrees there are public safety concerns and does not support this variance request. If you look at, Jay, could you put us on page 30? It shows it's a fire station that's right across Baker Street from this house. They come out of the station, they have to turn left or right. Right takes you back to Highway 34. If you go left, you go to Medora or you go to Rockwall Street. And for any responses that are basically are going to be between Highway 34 and Rockwall Street, north of the station there, they're going to go up Medora Street. So that's a route that's used quite frequently. We go to page 36, would you, Jay? This is a site plan that the applicant submitted, and this pink line shows the proposed fence for the front yard, and I think they had discussed putting a wrought iron fence in front. I'm not going to swear to that, but I think that's what they were looking at. You see, they've got the yellow line there. That's where the gate would go there at the driveway. Page 37 is a view from Medora Street, looking at the driveway there. And if you look, let's go to page 38. It shows a different view of that driveway. And then page 39, we have you see that orange mark? That's the approximate property line right there. And when we measured back, we measured to the edge of the pavement. And that measurement is 12 feet. So if there were a gate right there, if that orange mark and it's closed, a car pulls in there, then they're going to be hanging out into the street. They're going to be blocking at least half of that one lane there. And page 40, just a different view of that. Shows where we've got the tape measure out there. You see the orange mark which is the property line. And then the end of the tape there, that's the approximate edge of the pavement there. Go to, Jay, you can go to page 43. That's an aerial map of the neighborhood there. The red is the property in question there. And just to the south across the street, that's the fire station too. So you see where they would come out of the station and turn left and then back right, and then boom, you've got somebody sticking out in the street, or you've got a car parked there. Of course, there's also a stop sign, so if there were a car stopped there, you've really got a significant traffic problem there. Any questions?
No questions for Mr. Phillips?
For our new member, Mr. Kagras, the part of the criteria to grant a variance is that the applicant has to show that the enforcement of this ordinance or these rules create some sort of hardship. And that hardship can't be self-imposed, it can't be financial. There has to be a real issue there that causes the hardship. And this is what we would call, you could call it a self-imposed hardship, in that they're wanting to do it for their own reason. We don't believe that there's a valid reason to grant either one of these variances.
Okay. If we don't have any questions for Mr. Phillips, we'll let him sit down. And I think I opened the public portion of the meeting before Mr. Phillips did. And now I will open for those wanting to present for and against this variance request. Do we have anybody that would like to speak for the request? Please, if you do, please come up, come to the microphone, and if you would state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Claudia Frausto. I live at 1321 South Medora. We just moved there at the end of March. It's our first home. We're newlyweds. Didn't realize a fence would cause so much issues. For the material of the fence, in the long run, for us, it would be more economical as a wood fence, rots faster due to weather. The fence type, the materials where we're buying it from is actually from a fence metal company. So specifically how it's gonna be set up and placed is for a fence. That design is actually complementary. I feel like it would elevate the neighborhood. So that's where we plan to get it from. It's more durable. It withstands harsh weather. It's what we have had in Dallas and other cities before. So I just have a lot of good things to say about that, especially saving money and whatnot. Regarding the gate part, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to speak about one thing and then.
You can speak
Okay.
about both, ma'am.
All right, thank you so
However
much.
you'd like to do it.
Okay. For the gate part, I don't believe it's a real issue because I live there. So most of the route actually being taken from the emergencies is actually Rockwall Street. Very rarely I see them go on our street. And if they do, it's not an issue because we only have 2 cars. Our neighbors rarely park on the street. Everybody's in their driveway. So I really don't see an issue having a gate at the property line. We just want to be able to protect not only our kids, but our fosters, dogs. We foster a lot of dogs, and they sort of have special cases where they have anxiety, and we just want to make sure they're in our property line, especially with the fence type. Special cases, like I said, some are missing legs, some are, just need that special fencing, because in the past we've had them where they chew up the wood fencing, or like people report because they think we're abusing them, but really we're just fostering them. That's pretty much it. I showed examples of the fence material, metal on Waffle House, hopefully, like, that would show if you're able to approve it for the integrity of a roof, it should be able to help protect the family and fencing. I don't know.
Understand, that's all right.
Yeah.
That's all right, you did a real good job. First thing I would like to say is,
Yes.
bless you for fostering and helping these dogs. I mean, that shows that you have a really caring heart. Then I'll turn it over for questions anybody has. The other thing is, when you look at the Waffle House, or even at the fire station, you're looking at a screening thing more than a fence, because what those are doing, they're screening a dumpster. And it's not really a fence in a residential area, it's on a commercial property. And it's really, that kind of really makes it apples and oranges.
I apologize. I didn't want to show residential fences because I didn't want them to have to deal with this part of, like, if they didn't, receive the permit or if they have to tear it down. So I've definitely seen those fences here. I just didn't want to point the finger.
Understood.
Yeah.
All right, do we have any other questions? We have questions for this young lady?
Have you investigated just a good solid board wood fence, which is basically the same design as this metal? There's no gaps between, they're much stronger.
So I have, it's just in the long run, we're thinking about, like, not having to replace it, the panels and then, like, the weathering and stuff like that. We just feel like it's more cost efficient to have the metal fence, and it's more complementary to, like, the style that we're going for to the house.
Any other questions?
Please ask me, it's my first time.
No, that's okay. No, you presented and handled yourself very well.
Okay,
Now, to the gate.
yes.
Is this gonna be an automatic type gate or a swing gate or what?
From what I read, electronic or electrical gates or fences aren't allowed, but that's a whole different thing.
No, not electrified, but operated.
Oh, I would hope so, but if that's not part of it, or if it's.
Well, no, the reason I'm asking is, you have to realize that, any car that you have, that's the 25 feet come from a length of a car. And basically what you see out there in a parking lot, that's where that 25 feet is coming from. And I know from experience that I had a gate that a lot of times the battery was down or something and I couldn't get the gate open, so I'm parking in front of the gate. And that happens a lot, and that's the reason for the ordinance, because 12 feet, your car is gonna be sticking in the street. So, do you understand why they're?
I understand. I just don't see somebody pulling in head first. I see them pulling in sideways, and the average length of a car, I Googled it today, is like 14.7. Definitely under the 25, and then the width size, because that makes sense to pull in sideways instead of front ways, is about 5.7, 5.8.
Well, I don't know how
So-
you would pull in sideways, but, and I
Yeah.
promise you, my truck out there is a whole lot
Yeah,
longer than.
but that was
14
average.
feet.
I Googled average, so that's what I got, the number.
So, anyway, questions?
No, you asked the ones I would ask.
Yeah.
Dr. John?
I just replaced a wood fence, and that fence was in existence on the property probably since 1978. So,
Ours has been there 20 years,
you know,
wood fence.
if you.
It's just a
if you
single-
replace a board here and there, it's really about the only thing that happens.
Okay. All right, well, thank you so much for presenting and thank
Thank
you
you.
for coming
Thank you.
up. All right, now I need, yes, sir, come on up, bud. No, I'm sorry. I wasn't excluding you. I thought y'all were together.
I was. I just didn't know if I needed to get next to it. Sorry. I don't know if I needed to get next to her
Now,
for that.
If you state your name and address, please.
Yeah. No. So Amali Vasquez. I'm her husband. Live at the same address, and yeah. So So I was gonna go for the gate, the front gate. So having a vehicle gate at the property line would help secure the yard and home, as it would help prevent a wandering child, dog or cat, from making their way to the street and being injured or worse, killed. This variance would allow for the vehicles of our guests and ourselves to be secured inside of the driveway. It would give us more room. And then that would eliminate the need for anyone to park on the street, which would be the cause for obstructing the emergency response. Granting this variance would not interfere with future emergency response when compared to today, because currently there's a bunch of vehicles that park on the Baker side of the street, right in front of the fire station. And so I don't see the gate affecting that portion at all, but just wanted to bring it to an example of what currently occurs.
All right.
I had a question, and this may go back to you, Bobby, but if the fence is gonna come out all the way where they want the gate, 12 feet, well, is the fence gonna be out of compliance on that front side?
No, the fence can be on the property line.
Okay, it's just the driveway.
It's just the gate,
Okay,
because,
that's
you know,
what I-
being the
that was-
driveway, someone pulls in, they're sticking in.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have any questions for me or anything like that? That's a-
I noticed
all.
in your verbiage, you said that your back door was on the side of the house, on the back, from the picture.
Right.
If we go back, should I go there? That's like an entryway. That's not a door, it's like an entryway between the shed and the house. Yeah, like a breezeway. And then, the side door is actually facing the drive towards the driveway. No, the front door and then the side.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
goes into the carport, but if you were to,
Yeah.
when we open the door, because, you know, you wouldn't put a fence there, the dogs would run that way or a kid would run out.
Yeah.
And that's the issue we're trying to avoid.
Any other questions for these young folks? Okay. Thank y'all very much for coming up. I appreciate it. All right, now I have to ask if there is anyone to speak in opposition of this variance. That being no, we will close the public hearing portion of the meeting, and we will go into our private meeting. Okay. The panel's consultation is done, so I would ask if someone would phrase a motion to address the first variance of the materials for the fence.
I move that we deny the variance on the materials.
It's been moved and seconded that the variance to allow the metal Mueller fence materials to be used in a residential area to be declined. Thank you. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? No, or nothing. Okay, if someone could craft a motion for me to address the location of the front gate on the property line there on Medora Street.
I move that we look into the matter of the gate being on the front line, property line on Medora Street, that be declined.
It's been moved and seconded that the variance request for the gate to be on the property line on Medora Street is to be declined also. All those in favor of this motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. that's the end of those two cases. Unless there's something else that should come in front of this board, then we will adjourn as we stand at 6:01, Jay. All right, thank you.